guys, it's Jen and I'm back with my fourth video in the 6x6 paper pad love series that I've been doing. Many people have asked or hoped that I will do many more videos in this series, and just so you know, I have probably at least 5 or 6 more ideas after this video. I think I'll do at least 10 videos in this series, so there will be many more. This week I am working with the Hey You 6x6 paper pad from Basic Gray. This is a little bit older, it's 2012, but I know that we all have 6x6 paper pads laying around in our stash, so you can use this technique. Will work with, you know, any paper pad that you have. I'm going to use these 3 square photos. They're 3x3. That includes the border, so you can see on my mat it's 3x3 with the border. And they're photos taken at the aquarium. We go to the aquarium every year for my daughter's birthday, so I'm going to document that. I've already gone through, I'll give you a quick flip through of the paper pad. I think this is my first time using it. It's got kind of like a boyish feel to it, but I've gone through and pulled out the papers that I think will work for my page today. I am using a white background again, but I don't by any means think that you should limit yourself to just white. I personally love the fresh look that it gives to my pages, and so I'm really drawn to it. But obviously you can use any color that you love for your background. I pulled out a couple of extra ones to just show you, like, it would definitely work with the blue, and it could definitely work on craft as well, and it still looks nice. I just prefer, for my own taste, the white. So I'm going to be working with white again. And today we're going to do a grid layout, and a grid layout is a fabulous way to use your 6x6 paper pads. I'm going to arrange my photos something like this. I'm going to create a 9 square grid. So I'll have 3 on each row. So 3 rows of 3. You could definitely do this with more rows if you had lots more photos, or, I mean, obviously you could add in more photos than the 3 that I have, but you could do it with more photos. You could do it with smaller photos and do more rows, or you could do it with less. You could even just do 4. But today, again, I'm going to do 3 rows of 3. So first things first, I'm going to cut up my 6x6 papers into some 3x3 squares. Okay, so now I've got my pieces cut. I went ahead and found a couple more pieces of paper that would match the colors because I was short one pattern and I didn't want to repeat just one. So I've got my leftovers to the side, and now what I need to decide is, well, first of all, you can see that the colors in the photos have a real purplish tint to them. I'm kind of choosing to ignore that and really focus on the colors of the fish and the coral and things like that, the grasses in the photos, and I think it will be just fine. And if that's not to your taste, that's totally fine, and you can obviously choose the colors that you like for your pages. But now what I want to decide is, so you can do a couple of different things with grids. You can do something really clean, like how it is now, or you can kind of choose to get a bit of a messy grid going on, wherein you layer up different papers together. So for example, if I were going to do a messy grid, I might go through and add in like extra little pieces to some of my some of my clusters. So maybe this one up here. I think I would want to show a little bit more of the blue. And at this point I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to do this or not, but I'm just kind of playing around. And let's see. And like I said, this is just fun, and you can make it as uniform as you want, or you can do like 2 or 3 mats on some of them to just kind of get a fun look going. I do like a messy grid, but I think this time I'm going to do something a little bit cleaner and just do a single layer. But you could definitely layer them up if you wanted to. So I'm going to go ahead and use my background, my grid, as a guide for gluing these pieces down. And if I need additional help, I can pull out my ruler. If I can find my ruler. So I kind of usually just eyeball it, but where it's a grid and you kind of want it to be a little more uniform, I'm thinking. But I don't mind if it's not exactly right. That is one benefit of doing a messier grid, is that if it's not perfect, you can't really tell, because there's several layers and so they don't all have to line up perfectly. Well, I think I'm just going to glue them down like this. Okay, so I've gone ahead and glued everything down, and then I decided to add a contrasting stitch line. And I chose black because the photos are kind of dark, and then it will just help to balance that a little bit. And then I pulled out some various titling options as well as a few embellishments. I wanted to show you, I'm going to use these for my title. It's going to be Birthday Tradition, and I'm going to use this for the word tradition. And I used a die from We Are Memory Keepers. I think that, let's see, this is the die. It's called High Rise, and it's from, I believe that, well, I can't get my words out, Quick Cuts, or what's the company right here? Lifestyle Crafts, that is what I'm trying to think of, does their dies. And so this is a We Are Memory Keepers plus Lifestyle Crafts die. And I just cut it a couple of times to get the letters that I needed, and I used this matte stack from Die Cuts with a View. It's adhesive backed cardstock, and it is perfect for doing letters like this because they're, you know, adhesive backed. But this is also a great way to use your 6x6 paper pads as well, is to use your dies and cut things out. So I don't have a lot of dies, I only have a few, and I have a few embossing folders. But this was a good way for me to use up some of my 6x6 papers as well. So I'm going to go ahead and stick down the word tradition. And I'm using this small font. I'm going to use this wax paper so I can kind of see how much room I'm going to need. And like I said, my title is going to be Birthday Tradition. I needed to use a skinny font because I decided to stitch these lines down. It really created separate squares for these. If I wouldn't have stitched down, I mean, they're already separate squares, but it really separates the squares. But if I wouldn't have stitched down this, I could have made my title go across a couple of squares, but because I decided to stitch down, I kind of feel like that doesn't work as well anymore. So I wanted to choose a small font that would really fit inside that square. And so that's why I've gone with this one. It's a tall, skinny font. And none of my thickers were quite small enough for this. I might have had one set that would have worked, but I didn't use that one. It would have worked, it would have fit, but it didn't work with the look I was going for. So, and this cuts perfectly just through the cardstock, and it just leaves the backing on, so that's kind of nice. And I'll have some leftover letters. It just cuts the alphabet once, so you do have to cut extra if you want them, but okay. So it's going to read Birthday Tradition, and I kind of thought of a couple of different letters that I could use. I thought about this one, but that one's going to be too large. I thought about this tan one from American Crafts. I like that they're see-through and you can kind of overlap them a little bit. It's from Amy Tangerine. I'm kind of leaning toward this orangey font just because it kind of pulls this reddish color. So I'm going to see what that looks like. And I like to mix a block font like this with a traditional font because it just gives some nice variation. And when I'm doing the block letters, I either want them to be perfectly straight in a row or I'll kind of bounce them up and down. So I'll do one of the two. And I usually bounce them up and down because it's too hard for me to get them straight. I'm not going to commit to where I'm going to adhere it yet because I might want it right in the center or I might want it lower depending on what I find to put in the center. I did type up my journaling, so it's possible if it fits that I will put the title at the top and then put the journaling below it. I don't know that it will, but I'm going to cut it up and see. Okay, so I went ahead and committed to my title because I figured out my journaling would fit. So I put my title at the top and I cut up my journaling and ran it through my Xyron machine, which looks like this. It's a little sticker maker. You stick things in and pull it out the other end. Comes like this. You rub it, and then you pull off the sheet. And then these are little stickers now. So let's go ahead and stick those down. And I'm just going to kind of bop these back and forth too. They're all different lengths. And it looks like they're going to fit with a little tiny bit of room at the bottom. Well, that one is a little long. I might trim just the slightest bit. And I think I mentioned it, but I typed these up on a 6x6, a piece of 6x6 paper as well, from that same paper pad, just the grid. And you probably noticed when I showed you it before. So now what I want to do is go ahead and embellish in these squares. The awesome thing about grid layouts is that they provide, each little square provides a home for various embellishments. And so it really helps you in knowing where to place your embellishment. So I've pulled out a few things that I think will work. Let me move my titling options out of the way. So first of all, I have a bunch of die cuts from Pink Paisley Hello Summer, and they are glitter. Some of them are glitter, but they match this teal color really well. And then they're also really they're a nautical theme, and so that works well with this also. I don't know that I'll use this particular die cut. I might, but I'm leaning towards something more like this where it's just the single piece so that it can let the rest of it shine. And so I know I don't want to use all the glitter pieces. I'm going to use some that are glitter and some that aren't, and maybe I'll add a little heart here somewhere. Actually, I think it'd be cuter if it were not right on the edge there. I don't know, I'll find a spot. This could be cute. Kind of tucked somewhere. I like that this one says, "Hey there," and then she's looking, it's hard to tell in the photo, but this is a profile picture of my daughter looking at the clownfish. We always get a photo of her looking at the clownfish, so that's part of the tradition of going to the aquarium for her birthday. And then you don't feel afraid to layer things over your photos. I like to do that. let's see. I also pulled some stickers from, I think, I can't remember if these are Ellie Studio. They might be. I apologize if they're not. I like this figure one because it's kind of scientific, and my daughter loves animals. She wants to be a scientist. Specifically, she wants to be a biologist. And so I think that works really well with this kind of layout. So I'm just going to play around a little bit with the embellishment. Okay, so I think I figured out where I want to place things, and I just am missing a little bit of embellishment for these two squares. I think I could probably leave them plain, but I'm going to just put a little bit of something on them. I'm going to go ahead and get this other stuff stuck down. I did stick this, it's kind of a plastic, it's kind of like an acetate piece, but it's not transparent. It's a plasticky feel. I went ahead and stapled that down and then used the figure one puffy sticker with it. And then I'm kind of mimicking that up here in this corner with, this is a die cut from Basic Grey, and then another one of the puffy stickers. And I'm going to layer this puffy sticker on top. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down. Just centered on this top square. As I was trying to find embellishments for this page, I realized too that a really great way to embellish this would be to use up some of the frames. If you have any of the chipboard frames from Crate Paper, they work great for a layout like this, whether you want to highlight a photo or use it in place of one of the squares or just use it on top of one of the squares. It works really great to use up those for this kind of layout. So I am putting some of the glitter die cuts in 3 spots on the layout. One is going to be down here in the bottom, and then I'm layering a heart, a puffy heart over the top of it. And these are kind of a greenish tint, but they pull this yellow is kind of a greeny yellow, and so I'm using that to pull in that color. And then, so I'll use it here, up here with the anchor. And again, I'm just centering that. And then I'm going to put a little heart next to this Hey There die cut. And I think, I can't decide if I want to overlap it. It doesn't stand out as much if I overlap it. I think I'll just stick it next to it. Okay, so those are stuck down. Now I'm thinking for these two that I might just put a little strip of washi tape. I want to bring this black in again, and so I am using this washi tape. I got this from a class that I took with Amy Tan and Kelly Perky, and so I don't know that it's available to buy. But I'm going to just go ahead and stick some. I think I'll stick this one across the bottom. And it just says a bunch of different words: trends, destination, arts and culture, remember, travel. And that's fine with me. So I think that I'm going to just call that good as far as embellishment. I want to add a few enamel dots, and I pulled those out, and as well as the date. So I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, I think I'll add the date down here in the bottom. I often add the date right by the journaling or toward the bottom of the layout. Or if there's like a tab or something, I'm sticking it on, but none of these tabs really have room. So I'm just going to stamp it down here at the bottom. And I just am using my Chamel roller date stamp. And then I've pulled out enamel dots in various colors. You know what? I wanted to mimic this stapling up here on the top as well. Just a little bit. I like to do things in at least 2s or 3s. So here I've mirrored, so there's 2, and then with these I've used 3 to kind of draw your eye around since it's blingy and flashy. And then 3 photos to kind of move your eye across the page as well. So I think I want to add in a little yellow dot over here with these circles. Just kind of finish off that cluster, and then maybe a blue one over here. So I have lots of different colors of blue that I could use. Maybe instead of yellow right here, I kind of want to use that orangey color, actually. That orangey red. I think so. There we go. And then let's find, I think because this is kind of a darker blue, I'm going to mimic that blue over here as well. Oh, that looks like I'm centering it. I think I'll do that, and I'll add some splatters maybe to kind of even things up. Maybe I'll just add these. Maybe I'll add a couple, one more right here. I don't think I need another one right there. Maybe I'm just not going to worry about it. I think I'm going to call that good. I'm going to add some splatter in. I think I'm going to use Mr. Huey's Warm Calico because it's a dark color, and I feel like I want to bring in that dark color a little bit more. So I'm just going to sprinkle it lightly around all of, maybe not all of the embellishments. Anywhere that there's circles, how about? I think I'll do it down here by the title for my third area. I mean, not the title, by the date stamp. Just to kind of draw your eye down there. It's not wanting to sprinkle. And you have to be patient. There you go. I think I'm going to do a little bit more up here so it's on the white, so that it looks like it fits in more with this one over here. So that is going to complete my layout for today. I hope that you'll join me next week for another idea on ways that you can use your 6x6 paper pads. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.